Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, and I have a brilliant story to share with you all today. As you all know, I always say technology works best when it brings people together, and when I hear a genuine person with a heartwarming story and how technology helps someone dream the impossible and help people and businesses around the world, those are the kind of interviews that I love to share about on this podcast. So today's guest is somebody called Stephen Jiang, and he is the founder of a company called Hiretual, which is Hiretual. And I've invited him on today to share his story, which is nothing short of inspirational. So I do urge everyone listening to listen to the entire interview because I guarantee by the end you will be inspired. And he's also going to speak about why AI is helping the post-pandemic hiring market, his experience in technology and the recruiting industry, what led him to go out there and solve these real-world problems, and also share insights from the Recruitment for Recovery survey. But enough from me. Buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to California, where Stephen is waiting to speak with us now. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Stephen. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hello, everyone. This is Stephen, CEO and co-founder at Hiretual. I'm a very lucky person working with more than 250 full-time employee global team by doing the most exciting technology and product for the most lovely recruiting community, right? And I'm also a very simple person and spend most of my time in office and with my family. I'm located in Mountain View, California, and I am a husband, a proud dad, and I have a son, and he's 15 months old. And this young man brings a lot of happy to my life and to my family. Yeah, that's information about myself.
I love that. And I love it seems you've got the whole balance right there of the tech career, the family life, what's important to you. But I've got to ask, where did it all begin? Can you share your origin story, where your passion for technology and recruitment came from, how those worlds collided, and what put you on this path you're on today?
My personality and also the real myself, right, and was very motivated by the innovations and the technologies in Silicon Valley. I quit my PhD after my first summer intern in Silicon Valley, and so I was so moved and so driven by the environment here. So when I was a software engineer at a Samsung R&D, I was thinking about, hey, what will be the technology and also the cool product to change the world, right? And started to think about those big questions. At that time, my co-founder and I, and by the way, my co-founder, and he was my boss's boss at that time. Okay, and we sometimes, right, and off the working hours, we also talked about what will be the most innovative and most valuable technology. And we thought about in big companies like Samsung, right? And capital versus human capital, which one will be more valuable for the future? And more, we were very clear about human capital. And in the future, so it might be as important as P&L for CEOs, okay? And the CEO will not only say it, and they will also absolutely do things to put the human strategy on the first priority. And after years, and I believe now that's the trending, and absolutely people, the human capital is the most important asset for the companies. Okay, so, and that was the original story and the motivation for us to start something in this space, right? But later I probably can tell more about the story about how we started and also how difficult it was.
Yeah, I'd love to go there because from there, of course, you create this AI-powered global talent platform that connects companies with people to bring their mission to life, which is, I love the heart behind that story. But can you set the scene and tell everyone listening about exactly what it is and the kind of problems that you set out to solve from the very beginning with your technology?
Sure. Yeah, and back in 2015, Xingwen, my co-founder, and we started this company, and at that time we had a simple idea of building an internet platform for people to do the job referral publicly and easily, right? So that was the idea, and we started, but very soon we realized, and that was not a valid business model, and there was no way to monetize this platform, and even though that was we had an initial success, and that was pretty popular in certain tech areas. And we pivot. We had 4 kinds of failure and pivot. Okay, and the first 1.5 years was a very tough time for us. And until we found this idea of Hiretual. Okay, so the Hiretual, the idea was about how to make the internet, the information, very a lot of a massive public information in the open internet, and convert them to the recruiting friendly platform. Okay, and we thought about what would be the right technology and product for this recruiting industry. Should we build a lot of internet platform with a unique data set like LinkedIn, Indeed, right, and a lot of XYZ? I think that might be not necessary, and because the data availability is there, okay, but we are lack of the certain technology how to make the internet recruiting friendly. Okay, so that was the prototype of an AI-powered talent platform, global talent platform, right? And step by step, after many failures, okay, and during that 1.5 years, and Xingwei and I, we ate instant noodle for 7 months, no kidding, okay, and that was very tough time, and the 2 families, and together we only had less than $10,000 saving, okay, for a long time. But I mean that now that was an old story now. So after we understood what is recruiting and who are recruiters, and more we iterate the technology and product, and realize the mission of turning the internet into recruiting platform more and more step by step. So we move from a simple tool and upgrade Hiretual from a simple tool to a platform, to a solution for the corporate and also for agencies to build their recruiting solution. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was just thinking, because artificial intelligence is such a huge buzzword now, attached to so many different projects, and a lot of people, it could be a little bit of a mystery and smoke and mirrors, and how is it actually helping? So in this instance, how is AI helping as we transition towards a post-pandemic hiring market? Can you tell me a little bit more about the role of AI and how it's actually solving a real problem here?
Before we look at the solution and the problem we solve, and let's look at who we serve, right? Again, and who are recruiters, and we talked with our community members and recruiters and asked them what are the biggest problems you are having in a post-pandemic. And number one problem is about how to find enough qualified candidates, right? And basically, that means right after the pandemic, right, and in the post-pandemic period, the war of talent immediately came back. So they need new technology deployed to fight against so many dynamics in this new environment, right? And AI absolutely is the probably one of the first choices they have to deploy to their existing system to speed up and to optimize many processes. Okay. For instance, Hiretual figured out for CHRs and VP of HR or VP of talent acquisition, they more and more care about how to have the competitive advantage of their talent acquisition and their people strategy. By doing that, they really need a solution, a systematic solution to build their talent community, right? And what is the talent community? And and fundamentally, most of them are about AI technology driven applications and also data set, right? And let me explain in more details. And the talent community has a foundation of the data set. And then the data is a proprietary data for each company, their own data, okay? So proprietary data set. And on top of that proprietary data set, and they need several applications, including search, engagement, data synchronization, and scoring, mapping, and screening. Many of them to enable the activities engagement with the passive job seekers, so that they are able to nurture more and more warm or say ready to talk candidates to supply that a very demanding request from the internet process, more directly from the hiring managers and the hiring teams. Okay, so that is the very clear area. So the AI will help strongly and tremendously in a post-pandemic hiring market.
And we will have a lot of job seekers and indeed recruiters listening all over the world. So just to bring to life everything that we're talking about here, do you have a use case or a client story that just help people listening to understand how this technology can make a real difference in recruitment?
Yeah, that's a great question. I can give you a real example. And we have one client, and the company name called Sanford Rose Associate SI, and actually Jeff K. Jeff K is the business leader, and Jeff is also the partner and the owner of the K Basement. Okay, so I think SI might be the number one, the biggest recruiting franchise in US market. Wow. And we had meetings with those recruiting office owners and the users. And the first time we demoed the product to those users, okay, and you can clearly see their excitement on the face, right? And from their interaction, so many aha, wow. And that was the moment you feel so proud of the technology, and also you see and you feel the, and you can touch the value of the technology and how does it bring the value to them, to the users, and how to make their life better. And at Hiretual, we always educate our own people, right, including myself, how to be recruiters' best friend. Right? This is an AI technology, but don't think AI is a robotics to replace recruiters. No, it's not our mission. And our mission is to how to become recruiters' best friend, right? And with that mission, we have to be with our clients and our customers and our users, and to see how technology can make their life better. And also, I think in recruiting space, every placement means a job, right? And a job means a family behind, right? So, and this family means, and also for recruiting, and we are selling the tool and solutions, but much more than that. and because they need to use the tool and also the solution to bring the financial income for them, especially for those headhunter and recruiting agencies. And there are so many families behind, and they need to rely on our tool to make the family the financial support reliable, right? And that's just a lot of accountability and responsibility of technology. Okay, so and again, and that's also the most exciting part in my in my daily work, and also and our team share the same value here.
Love that. And before you came on the podcast today, I also came across, I think it was a recruitment for recovery survey I saw online. For people that haven't seen that report, are there any big stats around your findings that you can share with people listening?
Oh, yes. And my marketing team, we know that, and also the team, they did a great job by doing a survey with our community continuously, and also the team shared a lot of great findings with me as well. For instance, we found a survey. We found out that 40% of the respondents, they were spending more than 15 hours per week, right? A significant amount of time on sourcing.
Yeah.
Right? And this year, the first half of 2021, right? A lot. Okay. So just many things ongoing in a recruiting space, and there are so many positions, and there are so many difficulties on finding those qualified talent, right? And that's why sourcing activities now is increasing daily. Okay, and also probably 67% of the teams, they are introducing and they are deploying the new technology or system into their recruiting process. And there are just too many dynamics because of this pandemic. And the recruiting space now is completely different than 12 months ago and 18 months ago. The new system, new technology. Now we have a very great time to do business and to bring the true value to this industry, right? And also the 48% of the respondents, and they are very open to AI-powered platform, and I think this percentage is the highest from all the surveys we did in the past. And they agreed the AI-powered platform is the most useful tool for them in the first half of 2021. So a lot of great findings in a survey. So if we probably can spend more than 2 hours to list all of the statistics.
But I'm conscious you're somebody that lives and breathes this space, and you know it inside out. So was there anything that surprised you in the results?
Yes, a lot actually. But I can share the most surprising and also exciting one. Okay, 62% of the respondents, they said the biggest challenge this year hiring for it is a hiring for diversity. Okay, wow. And the challenge was there for a long time, but now this year it's so difficult, and because the pool is not big enough, and people are looking for the technology can empower DEI recruiting, and a lot of our customers actually, they are very happy to invest on Hiretual, because Hiretual actually is the right tool for them to expand the talent pool for diversity. But I mean, the over 60%, like over 50%, that was eye-opening for me. Okay, and I didn't expect there's a high percentage. I know the DEI recruiting has been the trending for a long time, and Hiretual also invested a lot of resources on that, and including our internal practice. Okay,
yeah.
but 62%. That was extremely high.
Yeah, it really is. It really highlights the work that needs to be done in that area. But and moving forward, what's next for you guys? What is it that excites you about the road ahead? Makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning, and how the role that you guys are going to play in that future of recruitment too?
We will continuously work, listen, and serve our users, our customers, and our communities, right? And that won't be changed for our next days. And Hiretual and the team is expanding rapidly. The business is growing quickly, uh, but that shouldn't be changed. And we should always be with our users. And I made a lot of mistakes in the first 18 months, and that was the common pitfall or the trap for a lot of people, the founders like me with engineering background, and we believe the technology can change everything. But before we change the world, let's understand the world and understand the people we serve, understand the problem we solve first, right? And that's very important. And then we think about how to change the world, right? And again, back to the basics of doing the right technology is about always listening and serve our users. Okay, so we are going to invest much more on the technology and the product to innovate for our industry by bringing in the best AI technology to optimize the overall recruiting process for the talent acquisition teams globally. Okay, and that is our mission all the time. And Hiretual, definitely the team is realizing, it is taking the mission very seriously, how to be recruiters' best friend. Okay, and that is something. Then there will be a lot of exciting things will happen in the coming months and years for Hiretual.
Well, I wish you the best of luck on that journey. But before I do let you go, we started the podcast today talking about your story, where those worlds of recruitment and technology collided, etc. But I'm now going to ask you, what was the soundtrack to that journey that you've been on? Is there a particular song or piece of music that has accompanied you throughout your career, or just helps you concentrate and focus? Is there a song that means anything to you that we can add to our Spotify playlist?
Okay, this is a very, very special question. Okay, definitely. I'm very happy to share the song, my favorite song, and the name is called "Dream It Possible." Later, I will give you the reason why I Dream It Possible. I think it was written by Andy Nutt, and it was sung by DeLacy. DeLacy, and an American singer. And first of all, there's a sound is beautiful, and very inspiring. And, and people who are close to me and they know my background is very different than a lot of Silicon Valley's co-founders. Originally, I was from China. I was born in a very small village. My parents both never went to school for a single day, right? And they only speak local language. They cannot speak the official language, Mandarin, and they cannot write their names. Seriously, okay. I was born in that family, but from very early on, and they early of my childhood, they understood and they knew I need to get education. Only education will change my life. Right? And very lucky, I had this. I had the the very visionary parents. And I was also talented in school. I on the way I became the first that always was always number one in the class, and then also very lucky to get the full scholarship to come to US, and very lucky to funded my own business. Was supported by so many talented people around me. And I'm very grateful and happy with all the things I have and I have and we have. Very, very grateful. And I have to dream it possible.
Oh man!
Everything I have to earn it. Have to. So I think it's a very different than a lot of the founders in this valley, and they are Stanford, MIT, and found a very wealthy and very resourceful community and families. I don't have it, but I don't think that's the problem. And I dream it possible and earn the things with my people.
What a beautiful answer. And that is the reason that I asked that question. And a lot of people think, well, because it's a tech podcast, why does he ask a question about music? And it's answers like that get to the real core of who you are, what you stand for, why you do what you do, and why you're going where you're going. And the first thing that I would say about your company as well is it's not just a tech company. The real heart behind it and the reasons behind it really shine through in your passion. And I cannot thank you enough for sharing that with me today. But before I do let you go, for anyone wanting to find out more information about the work you're doing, how they can get involved, contact your team, what's the best way of finding you and your team online?
Go to our website, hiretual.com, hiretual.com. And we have all the transparent information over there. And we love to talk with everybody. And we love ideas, and we love excitement, and we love feedback. And see, this is a talent acquisition space. Talent is the greatest asset of human society. Okay, so and we are also doing the most powerful tool of the human society, AI, and we combine these two together, right? And it's just too excited, okay, and just too exciting, and everything can be possible. So very happy to chat more.
Excellent. And I always say at the end of every episode that technology works best when it brings people together, and how you're bringing together recruiters and candidates is very special. But also AI often gets a bad rap, but you're using it for the greater good here and to make a real difference. And like you said, you're not using technology to replace recruiters. You want your technology to be the recruiter's best friend, essentially. And I love what you're doing here. And more than anything, just thank you for sharing your story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neil, and happy to chat more in the future. Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing story. So genuine, authentic, heartwarming, and just thinking of Stephen there, being in another country, daring to dream the impossible, and here in 2021 on the other side there, he's helping to transform the recruiting process for companies right across the board. And it has even become a key resource for those in the recruiting and sourcing industry by helping businesses cut their sourcing time by as much as 80%. And again, the most important thing, like we said in the interview, he's not looking to replace recruiters. He's using technology to be the recruiter's best friend, best tool. And that, my friends, is what it's all about. But over to you. Please, any questions at all, my inbox is open to each and every one of you. I want to hear your story, get your voice heard on this podcast. That's what I try and do every day. And if you're sitting there with a story to share, consider this your true calling. But that's it for today. So a huge thank you, as always, for choosing this podcast. I appreciate a daily podcast is a big commitment, but rest assured, it means the world to me. And getting your voices heard on here of how technology works best when it brings people together. That's one of the reasons I jump out of bed in the morning. Well, I say jump out of bed, maybe slowly get out of bed. So join me again tomorrow where I've got another guest, but a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.